Alright, let's fucking get back on the grind. This is going to be an interesting one. I have never VOD reviewed Echo before, um, especially individually. Fucking A. I'm vibing after scrims with a cross on. I've just scrimmed against a couple of people I used to know and a insane Echo player on their team. I don't know what SR they were, but they were like 4k average, so. After I've done this now, it's still fresh in my mind. I will be eating through the VOD view, because my stomach acids are too bad otherwise. So, let's fucking watch the VOD, let's go.
2, 1. Attackers moving incoming.
I think as a pre-tip, if you can get this peak on any other map, I think sticking it to the doors is good, because then you can't get it DM'd. It has an activation time, right? Like, you throw it against the door, it sticks, and then it explodes. The sticky damage, not that much. You probably want the explosion damage, right? Like, the explosion damage does more than the sticky damage, because that's how grenades work, I think. At least it makes sense. So you could stick it to the doors, potentially, and time it. It's a little thing, but if you get like 5%, that's just a shot that you don't need to take in order to get your ult, so.
Defend objective A.
Now, let's achieve our
Do I hard macro the comp? I don't think so. There's no need. Soldier is technically a counter to you, but if you play around Bell Tower, it's exactly like Pharah. So you're kind of vibing there. Against their Sigma, you literally just pepper his shield for free. And against Zen, it's a very slow moving target, so Zen is easy sticky grenades. Hanzo you can win in a 1v1 with Execute. Soldier you can win in a 1v1 if you can force his healing pad. But you have to probably re-engage against the Soldier. And the Moira, you want to just play for her fade. And then commit with her or just back out.
Can you give me some shield?
Activating the barrier.
Lifting up.
So you're in the lucky elo that you yourself... It levels out, right? Because you're going to be like wasting your cooldowns and throwing your cooldowns away, but so are they. So like, if you can recognize and understand, like, when they've used the cooldown, that's when you go in, because it's all about better cooldown usage. Your mechanics are good enough. I looked at playstyle as well. My DPS is low, partly because I don't grind for it, but also I play characters like Tracer, and I just spend half the game just like kind of poking, and not enough on their backline, which is something I need to do more. And this hero is like a mix, because I think you can get into the trap of this hero of just poking and never really using the broken ability, which is this fucking execute bitch right here. This execute, it's literally execute. It's fucking bonkers, dude. Her focusing beam is insane. It makes her so good. Like, if double shield ever becomes meta, you're gonna see. Because like, if you pull flux, and then they land, and then the Echo just off-angles and execute, it's over.
I like this. I like this.
Sorry, 1 second. The same with Pharah. Avoid. So it's actually better, right? There's a tech on Pharah where you can slide on the roofs, just to stay in the air. But when you slide on these roofs, you don't regain jump fuel, right? But you don't fucking need jump fuel because you're playing on time for a cooldown. So the same thing still applies. Plus you can feather it like Mercy, so you can actually get better sustained mobility than Pharah, I think, because you can't recharge rocket jumps when you get to... You can't recharge fuel, sorry, when you get to this stage of the descent on Pharah, where you're trying to like slide off roofs to just to stall time and stay in the air for just a bit longer. But you can for the cooldown, because you're playing for a cooldown and then a bit of a glide. So just avoid doing this, because like obviously this makes you easy to hit. You know this, but it's just a habit. Always look to play around cover, like anyone would do that isn't a shield tank. So you're playing payload here. You go in for the Sigma. Yeah, I think you're going for the Sigma. I think you can play for the barrier break here. As soon as that barrier goes down though, you should just cancel it and get back up in the air. Okay, dude. That's... That's a fat fucking orb volley. Holy shit. Good, you have the combo down.
Hi. Thanks for that.
How's good aim?
Barrier is unstable.
God, I'm so garbage at this game. In hindsight. This is all shit I could be doing. I just don't for some reason. That annoys me because I know how to. Ooh, that's super unlucky poke on the Ashe actually. You just clone the Sigma here.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Moira.
General tip that I found already. If you're looking to clone early in a fight, you clone a tank. If you're not looking to clone early in a fight, and then you can be reactive. If you need another healer, you can clone the Moira. If you need another DPS, and you need like a quick ult to clean up, then you can go Soldier, for example. But if you're looking to clone early in a fight, you just go something like Sigma here. The best clone target on their team, Ashe, because of Bob. But either of the tanks are good as well, because it just allows more tank cooldowns. This is my problem with Echo, is that this is a fairly above average ability. This is busted because of the power it does right now, and this is just a busted ability in general, and this will likely never be fixed. This is either going to be busted or garbage, just because of the nature of it being an execute ability. But at the moment, all her cooldowns are good. She has decent poke, she can play mid-range fairly well, and she has an ultimate that allows her to get a second life with full HP and more cooldowns. So the ability to just sustain on this hero with ultimate is incredible. This is my issue with it. She just sustains way too well for someone that's so squishy. She should be like a glass cannon, right? Kind of like a Zen. You mean to clone Moira here, there's no way you don't. I think you just want to play Moira, which is fair enough. If this was late in a fight, this would be a super good clone, but it's not, so... Look, you actually get zero, you basically get zero value out of that. You heal like a bit, but you get zero value out of that. But then you go and poke and then you get a late fight execute because you have your ults already. So...
Thanks.
Hello.
I'm taking care.
I'd look to scout this ball. You should go on the Sigma here, I think, because this ball's going to roll past away from you. Yep, it's going to roll away. Turn to the Sigma now. Okay, you're low on boosters, you can fly away. In this situation, I'd just throw a couple of fucking stickies at Sigma and then fuck off. No need not to, right? No reason not to, sorry. Yoif. So you're trying to call for a group or... just generally expect a recall. The general tip for Tracer 1v1s, if you're taking the 1v1, which you definitely should, you want to save one of the cooldowns against her. It's the same as I can relate this to D.Va, right? Like against D.Va, you want to use the Matrix to basically bait Hal and Peel and then once she's used her recall, then you want to go in with the micro missiles. The stickies can force her recall easily. It's the primary fire and the execute that you will be able to kite, and then either wait for your stickies to come back offline, or you just go and execute her.
Your power down. Get in there. Systems in overdrive. Fire. Will. Fire. Your power down. Get in there. Systems in Your power down. Get in
So you get nanoed when you're 1 down, which is fine. Which is only like kill 2.
drive. Fire. Will.
General composure. This is a hard thing, right? Because the Ana definitely nanos you unexpectedly. But she's nanoed you for a reason, most likely. Maybe not, I don't know. I'm playing like under this elo and I sometimes just random nano. Because I'm like, wait, I thought they were doing that and they just weren't. I try and play too proactive with nano.
Moving up. Thank you. Thanks.
But I think an important thing to know at this elo is that ultimates are just being understood. Like, to be brutally honest. This is people just about understanding how ultimates work. You've gotten to this point, like you've gotten to 3k, 3.1k, because you can understand how the hero works, how you position, roughly, but like loosely. You have decent aim, or very good aim on some heroes' cases. That's why you can get so high on Widow, because like the ultimate doesn't really affect how the game plays, but like her ultimate is so important on Echo. It can really, really swing fights. So this is a stage where like ultimates are just like slowly being learned. Like you saw there, like she basically just graved no one because she felt like she had to use grav because she'd not used grav like all game. So rather than hold it. So yeah, that's that point. Yeah, ultimates are just being learned. So you will get random nano, but it's just as I said, it's about composure, you know? It's just about keeping target priority. You're nanoed so you have damage reduction. When you get nanoed as Echo and you have all your cooldowns, you can easily just go and try and find a tank and farm him, because you're highly unlikely going to die. Even if you get 1 kill. But as I said, like, ultimates are just being learnt, so it's a double-edged sword. You can learn how to use yours and have a real advantage when your ultimate comes up, if you track theirs as well, or like your pure mechanical skill alone. Like you could get nanoed there, for example, and you've cloned nothing already, but you're like getting kills just by using your cooldowns really well, so it doesn't really matter. Because like you're using an ult and they're still, and the end result is they're dying, not because you're ultimate, but because you're outplaying them with your cooldowns. So you're like, you're getting away with it basically, you know? But it's like, how much better could you be if you use your ultimate right correctly, like, you know? Sigma is very vulnerable in Flux. If you're playing around Bell Tower here, which I think you should be, this is like an easy stick execute. This is risky looking at the Tracer. Because you contest her, but she probably wants to contest you, right? Like, I refuse to believe there's zero world in which the Tracer doesn't want you to contest her.
Lifting off.
I saw a thing the other day as well, actually. I think it was by Samito. It's just about, like, doing more on the hero. Like, you basically just do more, right? Like, the better players will just do more. They'll do stuff better, but they will also do more. Like, this Tracer on the enemy team has, like, not really done anything all game. Like, it's just doing more valuable stuff, you know? This is why like heroes can become busted and abusable in lower elo because they get value by doing almost nothing. Like on Sigma, you could just like shield with your team or off angle and get mass value by just throwing DPS into them. Whereas now you can still do that, but you've got to use your cooldowns as well.
I need a help restore. I need a help restore.
Yeah, don't fucking do. So, this should be a normal peak. There's no way you don't know this, because I'm pretty sure you at least have half a brain. Against Hitstan, at medium to long range, you need to understand what the Hitstan's effective range is, and what their ineffective range is. For McCree, it's long range, you don't want to be fighting. It's the same with Ashe. Ashe is a bit further. So like, we'll draw this, right? And let's pretend this is like, let's do 1 meter, and then let's do 50 meters. So at either ends of the scale is Widowmaker, because you just sit in the back of the map, and that's what makes Widowmaker busted. So in order to play against Widowmaker, you have to close the gap. Soldier is medium range. I think. Soldier has damage drop off, I'm pretty sure. So Soldier plays, McCree plays, Ashe plays almost in the middle, McCree plays the closest, and then Soldier sort of plays in between the Widowmaker and the Ashe. So this is like Kree, this is Ashe, this is 76, and then this is W. Wait. Yeah, but either way, the Ashe and the 76 play quite even. But you can set the Soldier a little far back, whereas the Widow's going to be all the way back. So it's understanding. Ashe is difficult because Ashe close ranged, like super close ranged, can be dependent on the player. Because you can obviously use your unscoped shots and just like randomly spam volley, and also you have dynamite and thing. But peeking an Ashe is always like, you don't really want to do it. I like playing Ashe actually. She's super fun. I should play her more. She's probably one of my own better heroes because I can just position decently well and frag. I'm like such a brain dead DPS fragger on ladder, so I just run around and collect things.
I need a help restore. I need a help restore.
Use my brain on ladder more. That's a super risky peak. Let's just clone the Zarya here. If you're in this position forward, you should be looking for a clone. There's no way you shouldn't. In general, just like, it's a general tip, like just look to use your ult early to set a tempo advantage. Most of the time, the fights that come through gate are not winnable. It's after an overtime fight, so it's going to be a bit more winnable than most, because they're going to have used ultimates to kill you. In general though, like after point A caps, especially early, like the enemy team are going to be looking to do shit here. So like look to force it, either by using your own ultimate and telling your team to like not commit anything more, or to look to go and win the fight early. Because if you fight this early, you fight this here, you get another recontest about here. They most likely either use ultimates, or they use shit. The worst example here is you go here, you die in 5 seconds to stupid mistakes, and your team use ultimates. If it's a long fight, here you're forcing time off the clock, and they're using resources in ultimates to kill you. And fights are going to be longer anyway because it's 3200 and people don't really target focus.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Signal. I need a help restore. My barrier is fracturing. Damage. Losing streak.
So yeah, you were going Sigma for the defensive there, which I think worked. Damn, you headshot her just as she wakes up. This is an easy close engage. Oh, you can engage close on the Ashe because you have your execute and your abilities. I'm stupid. Sorry, I'm tired. I've been awake since like 8 today. Close range, with your abilities, you beat the Ashe every time. As long as you have either execute or stickies, you can beat the Ashe at close range. The McCree flashbang, no. The soldier at close range, yes, once his healing pad is gone. But I think you can burst him down enough. If you get him to half health, he'll probably try and keep himself above half health. So it's how you go from there. So like once his healing pad, you just need to leave. And you just go back in like 3 seconds back on this soldier. You ready? Okay, so he's been nanoed, so you have to leave. This is super risky. There's no one shooting you here. Holy fuck, you're so uncontested. You are so uncontested. How is this a diamond game? What the fuck? This is the micro shit I need to understand myself. Like, how do you just fly around into them? Basically uncontested. So you take damage there, you get the mega. I don't think you take any damage for the rest of this fight. And I have no idea how. I guess you should go in with the Bob, and because they're looking at other things. But dude, you're so uncontested here. It's actually silly. Like, you kill both their supports and you clean up their Ashe. You get like 3 basically exit kills, right? Like, you kind of exit kill steal. But like, no one looks at you that fight, like, at all. It's insane. Nice finish on the ball. You can always look to stick out of spawn from that point. And if you can't, like, scout the comp anyway, right? Like, scout what they're doing. Scouting, like, one of the reasons Pharah is so good is because of the information you can receive in the air. I could have potentially cloned ball here, actually. But this dive in on the background is fine, because if you die, you just back in echo form with a bubble. Yeah, always have a plan as well. Sorry, always have a plan. Never rely on the second life, right? It's like Zarya bubble. Like, it's gonna go eventually, so you've got to have a plan for when that bubble pops. You've got to have a plan for when that shield breaks, for when that echo deceases. This is like the tank element of it, right? Like, going in deep there is risky, because if they just don't use all their cooldowns to kill you, you'll back out on a 200 HP hero that, yes, has fly, but is a 200 HP hero as opposed to a 400 HP hero. So, and you fed them ult charge as well. So you have to be careful with that. Right here, you need to start the comp. You start where they're hit. If they have a hit stun. If they have hit stun that aren't playing in a good position, you take bell tower, you poke, and then you engage from there. Same way as Pharah. It's all around playing around this bell tower because it just gives you the sight lines that are so strong. So they have a ball and you have an Ana, so that's free ult charge. Try and ask your Ana to sleep the ball so you can get stickies, because he'll feed you so much ultimate charge. And like, his team won't tell him and he'll never realise that it's his fault. What do you... You just in here, to be honest. This is a guaranteed kill when you have fly back up, which is a shame. But you get lucky because you get rezzed. So right now you're just in the backline being a nuisance. It feels like you do tracery things on this hero, but you actually like have insane kill power. This hero feels like... So Sombra is essentially felt like a more CC cooldown based tracer. Genji felt like a more... Doomfist felt like a more cooldown based Genji. And now this feels like a more cooldown based Pharah. Like, all those 3 heroes have in common is like their main asset is just like the damage and the pressure they give. Whereas Sombra, Doom and Echo all provide like a lot of other value with scouting, with CC, with like insane burst, with versatility, for example. They all just seem like better versions of the previous 3. in general, I'm fucking stuttering a lot, but I'm tired. Uh, Jesus Christ, I said it again. Let's see if I can go a fucking minute without saying. So mines are not mines. Your grenades. Sorry. Fuck it. I lost. Never mind. What am I trying to say? Jesus Christ. Learn sticky bombs. Basically, learn the damage. It's like a min-maxing thing. It's not knowing when you need to commit the execute because you can save it for another target. 100% you go on the Ash on the high ground here, I think. Yep. You just go slam and kill the Ash. You should immediately look to try and roll through them and then get mines and then just either mine their spawn or just throw any sort of mines down. This can be executed when you landed. Sigma's lift is really good. It puts them in the air and it drops them and stuns them. It makes them really easy to execute once they land, and it makes hitting nades on them really easy. They're funneling through chokes here as well, so they have to go in, and that's where you just stuff chokes with sticky mines. Good, controlling the high ground. That's something you don't really need to do on Echo, but it works nonetheless. So you kind of just walk up and steadily snowball this. I think that's why this hero is kind of OP, right? Because, like, you're getting so much value here. So yeah, that's that basically. Let me... Where's my epic pen? This has been kind of a shit VOD review, but I hope some of this has been useful. So Echo. It's knowing when to engage, right? Because you can get value. You can get value by poking and by whittling down, but it's going in for the executes. It's playing around the bell tower when needed, and it's all the little shit. Like, it's really maxing the hero out, right? Like, it's really abusing the hero that will that you will improve on. And definitely for higher ranks, you need to learn your feather control, and you need to have a plan for when your ultimate ends and you come back in, you come out of clone form, and when your flight ends. Your flights seem a bit erratic when they're not being used to scout, like you're just kind of flying around for the sake of it. You can just be more controlled and deliberate with it. Like, why am I flying here? Who am I flying against? You know, where is their hit stand playing, for example, because they will take a hit stand against you. Understanding the optimal range of hit stands as well. General stuff like that. The ability to fly in, execute someone, and then fly back out is possible, and it's amazing on Echo. The problem that Dive mostly struggles with is that it goes in, and it has to use a cooldown to either get in or get out, whereas you could potentially use the same cooldown for both on Echo, because you can feather away, for example. So that's like super important. And it's understanding the micros of it. I'm going to get better with Echo review in general. My own take on execute usage is literally, as I'm calling it, execute, because you use that beam purely to execute. I think most of the time you're wasting it on shields. Against double shield comps though, you can still use the execute on the shields, and you should look to use the quick flight and just quick cancel it to get an off angle for sticky nades. You can go past shields because you can go above them, so look to try and poke around shields as Echo. Look to go around them and over them because you can, and because it's busted. For cloning, avoid cloning in midair. Like, avoid just like leaping into the air using your jump. And was your last clone? This was a fine clone. But also just, like, make sure you've got a purpose for it, right? Like, okay, I'm going to go ball so I can contest the Ash on the high ground. Like, what do we need here? What wins us this fight? What ultimate wins us this fight? Or what hero, like, what other hero wins us this fight? What was I saying? I fucking lost my point about, because I was getting sidetracked about the ultimate. Fuck, sorry. No, I've actually lost it. I ain't getting that back. But yeah, flight usage, like, don't stay in the air for too long, because you're really easy to hit against good hit stun players. Use natural cover as well. You're quite vulnerable once your flight's gone. You can use natural cover like a Zarya and Poke. Was I saying against shields? I think I was mentioning shields, but I forget what. Jesus Christ. Against shields, yeah, you just want to be trying to look as a way to get over them, because that's how it is. Oh, a flight tip when you ult: don't just fucking like do it in the air, because obviously you're gonna get shot on the way down. And if you use early, use it on a tank. It's using it on a tank is good early. I don't really want to go into a full depth explanation because I'm tired, other than the fact that, trust me, it's good early because of the way cooldown rotations work in this game. You have higher HP, you're going to have cooldowns that help you sustain, so they're going to have to use their lethal and their more deadly cooldowns, and their more saved cooldowns. They're going to have to use rock on you, they're going to have to use all of their Sigma Shield, their grasp, their pull, their hook, their May freeze. You're going to have to force cryo, and then you come out of that alive in a good position with your cooldowns, and you have an execute as well. So like if you've done a lot of damage to someone, you can come out with it with an execute ready to just go in and punish them. And you're going to have an ultimate as well. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, Echo done. Please fucking nerf this hero, it's broken. Bye.